What is going on, guys? Welcome to Purgatory, and today I wanted to kind of start this subtle little series to where predictions of what's going to happen in the next season, but with this first episode I wanted to do something I want to see come to the next season of the game, or maybe sometime this season, or just to the game in general. With today's video, we're just really going to be focusing on the maps. I don't really know too much about kits or specials or anything I want to see. I might make a video on specials coming back that I want to see come back, or a salmon run stuff that I want to see come back, but who knows. We're gonna go ahead and go on to the list. I list 5 maps. I have 2 honorable mentions, 2 of these maps being in the first and second game. So we're just gonna go ahead and start off with number 5, and that is Skipper Pavilion. Skipper Pavilion is one of those maps that I don't really know the opinion on too well, and I think it's one of those maps that I personally think it's a very unique layout. It's one of those, like, there's a lot of little lanes, it's a lot of platforms, and complex but easier to read. It's not like a moray situation to where you go to a point on the map and you're confused and you're just like, what's going on? And so I do really like this map a lot, and I love the art style behind it, the whole theme that they did with it. The only thing I'd say to change about it is there's that back top area that's in the center of the map that really has no point of being there. Whenever you play on it, it's just like, it's another place to fight, but all the action is happening down the hill from them. So I would like to see some kind of change come to that in terms of making that area more active, removing that area entirely, or just making it to where it's like a higher platform. I don't really know, but I definitely want to see that area be utilized more in the map, and that's really it. But this map was introduced in Splatoon 2, and I believe it was one of the last maps that they brought to the game, and honestly I still think it's one of the better maps in the game. Coming up at number 4 is Piranha Pit. Now this map was in Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2. It's another one of those maps to where it's such a unique layout and design that it's just like, doesn't make sense to work in other games. There's conveyor belts that are crossing, or depending on the game mode, there's 2 hills on the sides that don't need to be there, but they're there to be extra turf to ink. But it really just wouldn't work at all in anything else except for this game. So definitely want to see that return with minimal changes, because so far they've been actually doing pretty good with the seasonal updates on the new maps, or on the returning maps not being changed too much. Like Manta Maria doesn't look like it's being changed at all, so that's great. I was going to put that map on this list, but it's coming back, so we don't need it. Coming up at number 3 is Port Mackerel. Now this is one of those, it's a basic, very basic map. It's 2 slopes from the start that go inward. It becomes like a shipment situation to where there's just crates, and it's just a simple layout. There really isn't much to it, but they still added a little bit of complexity to where there's a few flank routes on both sides, and then there's even platforms you can get on top of to be kind of a sniper perch for anybody that likes playing chargers. But even then, there's some other balcony areas that longer range players can excel, but it's also a perfect map for anything close range, like a Sploosh-O-Matic, Arrow Spray, Splash-O-Matic even. I love this map to death, and I really want to see them bring it back. It's just so simple, so basic, and it just works. Usually basic and simple can be better than something that you're getting like Wahoo World. Coming up at number 2 is the Reef, and that is the map that's unique to Splatoon 2, and it's one of those, it was the first map we saw whenever they were revealing Splatoon 2, so it's kind of a special one, and it's kind of like this running theme of kind of that map felt like it's the mascot map of the game, if that makes any sense. And I just love the layout. Again, it's still very much symmetrical, and it's very easy to read, like the bridge in the middle, and then there's the under slope, like under the bridge. Splat zones, I think, being my favorite mode on that map. Honestly, don't think they could change this map at all, and I really want to see how this map would play on Splatoon 3, a game that's arguably more aggressive than Splatoon 2. Before I get to the number 1 spot, I do want to go over 2 of my honorable mentions, and this one, I know how people feel about these maps. That's why I put them on honorable mentions. If they're added to the game, great. If they're not added to the game, whatever. I can always just try to go back and play them on Splatoon 2. Both of these maps are in Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 1, and that is being Kelp Dome and Camp Triggerfish. A lot of people I know do not like Camp Triggerfish, but I feel like the overall consensus is pretty mixed on Kelp Dome, so I would like to see those maps return personally, but I know a lot of people would put swords in my face if I even put that on the top 5 list. Those 2 maps, I love the square design of Kelp Dome. Kelp Dome. I don't know why. It's just, I love the whole art style behind it. And there's like the grates on the top you can shoot through. And Camp Triggerfish, the layout isn't perfect, but I do like the fact that if you have a weapon that's long enough range, you could shoot across the gap and throw like bombs across the gap and take people out that way. So it's still, I personally think it's a great map. It's still definitely not the best, but it's a fun one. And lastly, at the number 1 spot, this one is the very first map we've ever seen in Splatoon history, and that is Urchin Underpass. This map is so unique to Splatoon 1, and it also got some love in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I really do want to see it come back to Splatoon 3 because Splatoon 3 has been having this Splatoon 1 theme to it, to where they're bringing a lot of the first game to this game, and I highly praise it. And I think the number 1 thing they should do soon with this game is bring Urchin Underpass back. Of all these maps, they don't have to bring them all back, but I definitely do think they absolutely need to bring Urchin Underpass back. Maybe open it up a little bit for newer players because the map is pretty crowded. It's one of those maps that's just, you look at it and you just go, I love this. I love this thing. This is what started it all. This is what we saw first. It's kind of like, think of the Noctur und Toten from Zombies of this game. This was the very first thing we've ever seen, and it actually flowed really well. If they never changed it, I think it would be completely fine. Absolutely, number 1 is Urchin Underpass. It might not be my favorite map of all time, but I do personally think it's a fantastic map, and I do think a lot of people that never played Splatoon 1 would really appreciate playing this map. But anyways, that's it for my list. I hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure to let me know down in the comment section below if you do agree with anything that I've said here. If you don't, what is your personal list? I personally want to know. Is Kelp Dome on there? Is Camp Triggerfish on there? Is Moray Towers on there? Please don't. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure to leave a like if you did. Make sure to subscribe if you're brand new to the channel, and let me know again if you agree, and let me know your top 5 if you disagree. So I love y'all. Have an absolutely fantastic day.